Space, the final frontier. This is a review show for Star Trek The Next Generation. Its continuing mission to explore interesting plot points, to seek out goofs and continuity errors, to boldly go where no other TNG review show has gone before. It's Wednesday. You're not going insane. It's the TNG Review Show. Good evening,
Sorry, we have a bit of
everyone.
echo going on.
Oh, have you got echo, have you? It's all right. It's all right for everyone else.
I'm in my headphones and I have nothing else on.
Luckily, it's just yourself.
I'll mute myself. We can see who's the problem.
I'm a dope.
It's
I had
his
YouTube
own
on
setup.
sound.
It's his own setup. It's all right. It's all right, everyone.
I had YouTube and I didn't have it on mute. Well, that's well done.
Whee. Yes, good evening, everyone. It's the TNG Review Show. With us, we're back reviewing, putting in our vault, another episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. With myself, Montyman, and my helpful crew of Commander McBob, Lieutenant Commander Tavikins Turner, and Chief Sean. Good evening, everyone, and I hope you're all well.
Evening.
Yes, this evening we're putting into our vault the episode. I've forgotten the name of the episode.
Frame of mind.
Frame of mind. I haven't even got my notes up yet. What am I doing? Yes, Frame of Mind. There it is. We're consigning that to our vault. Has everybody got their glasses of blood wine this evening?
Yes, haven't poured yet, but I have an Australian dark corner de Rift Cheval.
Brag all you want,
Or
but don't get between me and the blood wine!
Wine.
yes, blood wine.
Apologies, that was too loud.
It's it's still quite loud.
I've got blood plasma wine.
Blood plasma wine, crikey. I
white
have the
wine.
same. We got a Chardonnay.
It's a white
Chardonnay.
wine.
Yes, blood plasma wine. It doesn't sound quite as enticing, does it?
Sounds more sciencey to me.
It does sound sciencey. Yes. How's your week
if I can-
been, Mazza McBob?
Yeah, it's been interesting. Came back from Thailand, travelled Thursday, Friday.
Welcome back.
Like 28, 29 hours and time differences and all sorts. Came home and 4 hours later hosted a party.
Yeah, cray.
I really should have cancelled the party.
Socialising and holidays, how horrible.
Yeah, well, it wasn't actually a holiday. It was more a mission of mercy for my friends. So,
Yes.
And then not much really this week. Just back to work as normal.
Back to work. Tavikins, how's your week been? What's going on in Tavikin's world?
She's a deer in headlights.
I just got back from a party with 26 6-year-olds to 3-year-olds.
Oh, messy.
So my nerves are shot.
I remember
it was
those
absolute
days.
Madness.
Yeah,
complete madness.
It's great to have all the kids in bed and there won't be a peep out of them all the evening.
Yeah, okay, we'll see. Yeah.
That's my hope.
Yeah.
You're so sweetly naive, Sean.
You don't wreck them on a trampoline and you go, that's grand, I'll have an evening off now. No, that's not.
Yeah.
No. All right.
And
they'll drop and then they'll have a power nap and restart again.
Chief Sean, I see you're on no bloody A, B, C, or D bridge there.
And the original, before they came up with the NX-01, yes. I'm well, thank you. Still in the process of buying a house and giving out tens of thousands in cash. Take me years to put together and mere moments to go out of my bank account.
Yeah.
Oh, it's horrific. Just to see it just go, boom, they're gone. That took me 2 years to save. Out you go.
Yes.
Anyway.
It's exciting times. Also, it's supposed to be one of the most stressful things.
Big old thing you'll have to show for that money.
Yeah, true.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it just won't be numbers on a page, it'll be keys to a house, so it'll be worth it. But it's just, Jesus, it's hard to just take like $5,000 out of your account and hand it to somebody. It's, they're not giving me a car for that. I just handed it and said thanks and handed me a receipt. It's like, why?
It is painful.
I have to say,
we'll get there.
I did meet with my mortgage advisor this week. I've got to renegotiate my mortgage for the first time in 5 years.
Yikes. Not a great time to be doing that, right?
It's not.
Yeah,
it's
my starting rate
it's
is nearly
not good.
5%.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of disastrous. But yeah.
I wouldn't be fixing it for more than a year or two at a push, you know, it should hopefully come back down.
It's like, oh, I'm going to be broke.
Yeah.
Anyway, in these financial times, I hope we find everyone well in live chat world. Good evening to all you guys out there. I see we've got Stu Plum on. The Wookiees here. Give us a Wookiee call out, Sean.
And what are you drinking in chat?
Where's Wookiee? Wookiee noises, Sean. Wookiee noises. There you go.
The Smiley Rainbow's gone.
Smiler Rainbow's in the house.
Shadow craft in the sky. I can fly twice as high.
Smiler Rainbow. Good evening to you, Smiler. And good evening to anyone else that joins along or I might have mentioned. Good evening to all you lovely people. Ruth, good evening, Ruth. I didn't say Ruth. I think Ruth's there. Yes, good evening. Ruth, I hope you're well this evening. We've got no tune or greeting for Ruth. I don't know what's Ruth.
True.
we need to create a Ruth greeting. We don't have one. But we'll work on that for next week. Yes. Okay. So, what are we talking about this week? We're talking about Frame of Mind. It is episode 21 of season 6, so getting near the end. Production number 40276-247. So it's got a 47 reference in the production number. It first aired on the 3rd of May 1993. 3rd of May. Stuplum. 146th episode to be both produced and released in TNG, and it was written by Brannon Braga. It's his 15th of 24 episodes that he wrote for TNG, and it was directed by James L. Conway. This is his last episode. This is his third of 3 episodes he directed, and funnily enough, like, he directed Justice and the Neutral Zone in season 1, and then came back to direct this 1 episode towards the end of season 6. So he's had a bit of a time away. But
back by popular demand.
Yeah, they wanted to use him more apparently, but he was just too busy on other projects in the interim. So at least they managed to get him back for this one. But yeah, they had a bit of a gap in their stories, and Brannon Braga had this rough idea about, what if Riker woke up in an insane asylum? But yeah, and I think Michael Piller accepted it a bit skeptical, and they had to spend like 3 days kind of breaking the story to try and get it right. And it was quite risky because if it didn't go well, like, they'd have just had nothing. So yeah.
Yes, so that's the production. And before I get into the teaser, I just want to grab the first picture and share it with you. I just realised I haven't got the pictures out yet. I'm not doing my job, am I? Oh, and I haven't.
There's a set of photos that you need to have, and it's the only set of photos that I need for this night. And it's Data in that tight black cat suit. Jesus Christ, it was beautiful.
You're going to have to wait a little bit for that. Towards the end,
yeah,
we'll get there.
Near enough the last scene.
We'll get there. We'll get there. And yeah, and I've just got my spinny wheel out as well because I forgot my spinny wheel. There we go. Got the spinny wheel. And here's the first picture. Again, my main source of screen caps is failing, so I'm having to go to the backup again. So not quite as many to choose from, but still enough to do us this evening. Okay, so the teaser. First Officer William T. Riker seems to have fallen on hard times. He's in a mental hospital, talking to a doctor about leaving the institution. He is upset because he thought he was going to be leaving and going to prove his innocence, as he was sick when it happened, whatever it may have been. But the doctor, who sounds like Data, turns him down, saying he's getting angry and maybe he needs another treatment. Sounds sinister. Riker gets more agitated, saying that as soon as he shows some independent thought, they strap him down and inject him with drugs. He may be surrounded by insanity, but he is not insane. He does kind of seem...
something an insane person might say.
That's exactly, isn't it? Yes. Unfortunately, then Riker forgets his words, and it turns out that we're in one of Beverly's plays. He wants to keep rehearsing, but Beverly wants him to rest. Riker's suffering with some stage nerves and doesn't think he is right for the part. Data tells him that all humans are irrational, so he just needs to tap into that aspect of his psyche. The doc thanks Data for his input and tells Riker he'll be fine, he just needs some rest. She assures him that he will knock him dead. So Riker heads off to his quarters, practicing his lines as he goes and getting some strange looks from the crew who pass him by. He then bumps into a suspicious-looking alien commander who's getting out of a turbo lift. And that's how we end the teaser.
You would think that if there were crew members that actually saw that, they would have immediately went to a panel and said, look, I think we have a medical issue in the hallway here.
The first officer's ranting to himself. Looks rather disheveled. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know which way this is going to go, so this first question might be a little bit easy. What rank was the person Riker bumps into? A. Ensign, B. Lieutenant Junior Grade, C. Lieutenant, or D. Lieutenant Commander? And the bonus question, in what film does Sarah Connor try and convince her therapist that an android tried to kill her?
Yeah, the clue might be just over here somewhere.
Just there, yeah.
Sorry, there, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't expect you to say in that screenshot. Although you did refer to him by the wrong rank.
Well, I did. Well, it's quite often abbreviated. It can be abbreviated either way, actually. They quite often abbreviate it to...
well, he's not a lieutenant commander, though. He's a full lieutenant.
Yeah, well, yes, okay.
But yeah, if he's a lieutenant commander, you call it commander, all right?
Yes, okay, fair enough, yes. Okay, so... any trivia from Mazza Bob?
A couple of little bits. I must say this whole episode is a little bit trivia light, but I have more up front than I do in the later acts. Data uses a few contractions in his speech during the dramatic performance, but of course that's because he's reciting a script rather than using his normal speech patterns. This guy, Andrew Prine, who plays Suna, also played Leggett Terrell in Life Support. And this is the third time that Crusher has organised a play that we know of. I imagine she's actually done quite a lot more. She previously asked Geordie to sing in some Gilbert and Sullivan for her in Disaster, and she held auditions in A Fistful of Datas for another play.
Yes.
And that's all I got.
I did think I wondered if this was like based on any real play, but it's not. It's based on a play that Beverly's written herself, isn't it? I think.
Oh, is it? I didn't realise that.
Yeah.
The problem with using a real play is I think you have to pay rights to the playwright if you did that, so
Yeah.
it becomes messy. So it's easier just to make one up. Or it's part of the reason you always see Shakespeare, if they're doing a thing, is just because, just like that. Yeah, there's no rights for Shakespeare, obviously.
Yes. Yeah. So. So I was quite surprised. Apparently, the play that Beverly Crusher, the Doctor, the character, wrote on the Enterprise is called Frame of Mind, which is the name of the episode. It's both the name of the episode and Beverly's play. So there you go. I haven't answered. What was the question? What's the questions again?
The rank, you will give you the points for that. And the second question, what film does Sarah Connor try and convince her therapist an android tried to kill her?
And Smiley Rainbow says, does anybody else see a big M on that guy's forehead?
Yeah, he's a McDonald's representative. Anyone else hungry? No.
He's loving it. It does look like the golden arches, doesn't it? In skin form.
I only just now understood why she put McDonald's in the head.
Yeah, McDonald's head. And that is what they may be called. The McDonald's head clan. Yeah. Okay, answers to the questions.
So C, Full Lieutenant, and it was Terminator 2. But I think I'll accept any general Terminators, will be fine.
Yeah, Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
So on the wheel we have
the best of the Terminators.
Abby, Mazza, and Monty.
Yeah, I will say that I did say Commander in my thing because I got the rank wrong when I wrote my notes. I think I do correct it later on, but
wait, I thought that's Lieutenant JG, no? Or is Ensign a black pip?
Yes.
No, Chief is a black
Junior
pip.
grade is a black pip and a gold pip, right?
Yes. Yeah.
This is
Two
black
golds
and gold,
is full
though.
Lieutenant.
It's black.
Oh,
It's
two
gold
gold.
and gold. Two golds.
That's 2 gold.
Yeah. It's
Oh.
just one's there's slightly different
I think
angles.
it's just a reflection.
Yeah.
Well, darn it. It looked like a black and a gold.
Diddly
I
darn.
want justice!
Diddly darn. Okay, so who's on the wheel of misfortune? Everyone?
I just told you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Everybody except Duplan.
Smiley's on there twice. I don't know why. I don't suppose Smiley's on that there, but Tavi is.
And Wookie's on there twice. Oh, that's because they're all on there twice.
Oh, they're all on there twice.
Tavi, Monty.
You did a double one last week.
Oh, yeah. I was doing doubles.
Monty, Tavi, Ruth, Wookie, and myself.
There we go.
I think that's everyone, right?
Do you want to? Should we do doubles for fun?
If you wanna.
Oh, okay.
Lieutenant Suna, do you work for McDonald's? Because I'm loving it.
Let's spin the wheel.
Wookie!
Maz and Bob. Welcome back, Maz, and have some extra points.
Millie McBeebles.
Good start.
Good start. Yes, Ruth's asking if Tavikins is wearing the correct number of pips for Lieutenant Commander. Have you got a black and a gold?
I'm a lieutenant. I got two goldies.
She has got a black and a gold. She is correct. Very good. Very good.
Are you rank checking me on live TV, Ruth? Shame.
Oh, I guess you're a Lieutenant Commander, aren't you? So you should have a black and 2 gold.
I do. I have.
Do you have the black one?
I've got.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, you have. Yeah, yes. Correctamondos.
I saw a behind the scenes thing when they were doing the
and they're on the right
Lower
side.
Decks episode.
Oh, sorry.
They were doing the Lower Decks episode of Strange New Worlds. That they just used neodymium magnets, just gold-colored neodymium, the rare earth magnets, and they just popped them on. You can buy them anywhere.
Yeah.
Mr. Simple's in the house.
Hey, Andrew. Good evening to you, sir. Sorry, I'm going to go off topic a little bit here. I'm just watching Lower Decks, the end of the last season, and it just suddenly dawned on me, and don't laugh, or sometimes I'm a little slow, right? And you're gonna have to forgive me because I'm not very good at remembering characters' names, right? So, the main character in Lower Decks, the cartoon, is Boimler and Mariner. Mariner is the way she is because her best friend, who she went to Starfleet Academy with, died.
Yeah. Oh, we get to see her again in the episode Lower Decks.
Yeah, and she died. The whole thing about Lower Decks and her character stems from the episode in TNG Lower Decks.
Well, yes, she dies in the episode Lower Decks. Yeah.
So it's almost like Lower Decks is a continuation, a sequel to the Lower Decks episode. I never, that connection's only just been made. It blew my mind that it's continuation of that from her death and what effect that had on her friends type thing. It all comes rolling back to that first episode, and I was like, that's genius.
That great bit about it going, dude, he looks just like Tom Paris. I was like, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it. They look exactly the same.
Funny.
No, not getting it. No. Yeah, very good. Okay, Act 1. So, the next morning, Picard briefs Riker about the collapse of the Talonus 4 and the total anarchy that's taken hold. There are reports that various factions have resorted to torture to gain information on the other side, and the Federation has a research team there that would be a prime target. Bless you. Riker's mission, if he chooses to accept it, is to go undercover and make contact with the scientists. Worf standing by to brief him on the Talonus culture. Riker thinks this is a good excuse to back out of Beverly's play, but Picard's like, oh no, you don't. If you do, she'll ask me. You'll have plenty of time for the play, as we won't be arriving for 5 days.
Also, I'd love to know how you can back out of a play with a day or two's notice and get a note.
I know, yeah, just...
Particularly a two-person play. I understand if you're coming on for 4 or 5 lines, but like, there's 2 people on the stage for an hour. You better be hitting your marks.
Yeah. So Worf briefs Riker in the observation lounge. He shows him the plans of the city, the apparel he'll be wearing to blend in, including a pendant that has been fashioned into a communicator. Riker jokes that the pendant doesn't match the outfit, but Worf isn't impressed with his jokes and goes on to show him a knife called a nisra that is used in a blade weaving competition. Blade waving ceremony. Worf is performing a demonstration of this ceremony when he accidentally cuts Riker's face. He apologizes and Riker goes to sickbay to have Dr. Crusher administer to the wound with a dermal regenerator. Beverly jokes he's just trying to get out of the play. But after healing the wound, Riker claims that it still hurts. Then a young crewman is brought in by LaForge, who has had a plasma torch explode on him. It looks pretty painful. As Riker looks on, the crewman looks at Riker accusingly. So there he's being brought in. Here we have him staring at Riker.
Yeah. I don't know this guy, but I reckon he's LeVar's photo double, for
he has his hair, doesn't he?
He's a similar complexion, height, weight.
If you put the band on him.
Yeah, in a long shot, you mightn't tell. Although LeVar's a little bit stockier, but yeah, I bet you that's his double.
There's Riker looking worried, I guess. Anyway, so he goes to see Troy in 10 Forward and tells her how he has been feeling paranoid recently. So she puts it down to the play and the fact that he's been getting into character. Then, clasping the pain in his head, he sees the same lieutenant as earlier in 10 Forward. The same Telonian, or whatever they're called. There he is, walking across 10 Forward. Riker decides to head to bed early, as his performance is tomorrow, and Troy tells him to break a leg. I think it's a bit strange that they decided to have their sort of conversation about his mental state and mental well-being at the bar in 10 Forward. Like, you'd think that's the sort of conversation with the first officer that should be in, like, her office or something,
Yeah, well...
Oh, it's not like they particularly...
Go on.
It's not like they particularly care about anyone's confidentiality. They have a completely open medical bay where they talk at regular volume about everyone's injury in the open bay. So it's there are no secrets here.
No.
I was just going to say, I'd hope they'd have a more open-minded idea about mental health in the future. It'd be less stigma about it, but he is the commander of the ship. The last thing the crew want to know is the guy is having mental health issues. Just for the crew's confidence, that's kind of something you'd want to keep to yourself as much as you could.
This is the first of many sort of face-gurning pictures we get of Riker in this episode. Some of them are classics, to be honest. But this one's a pretty good one.
He looks like he's screaming, "You shall not!" Ha! Just the "you" part right there.
Yeah. You! Yeah. The next day, during the play, Riker is delivering the performance of his life. Though, when he's, like, acting, like, the whole "you shall not pass," like, really going for it, we get, like, a clip of the audience. And they're sat there and they look, like, completely bored. But at the end, they give him a standing ovation, which is really nice. And as he's taking his bows, firstly, the alien officer appears again next to Picard. Then the entire audience disappears. And then he finds himself in an actual cell. So here's the pictures of that. So they give him a standing ovation. Then the guy appears with his McDonald's forehead staring at him. And then
So
Riker
so
finds
rude. He's not
himself
even
in-
clapping with everyone else.
No. Yeah, and then Riker finds himself in an actual cell, in an actual hospital, with an actual alien doctor. And that is the end of Act 1. Question time.
Who did Picard say was assassinated on Tylona's 4? A. Chancellor, B. Taoiseach, C. Prime Minister, or D. Premier? And the bonus question, in what item did Worf hide a communicator? Copy and paste, see bollocks.
Okay, yeah, discuss. Mazim Bob, anything from Act 1?
Yeah. Sorry, just getting my answers in first. Yes, a little bitty bit, but not too much. So it's never really explained in this story why Riker's chosen to go on this particular undercover mission. So it becomes quite obvious that he doesn't know anything about the people or the environment, and he has to do stuff with like a weapon. Whereas Worf, on the other hand, seems to know loads about their culture, their terrain, and knows how to handle a knife. So it seems like a little bit far-fetched that they would pick the first officer who's just not really doesn't know anything about it.
It's not like they make him up to look Talonian or whatever they're called with the M, that. Because sometimes when they go undercover, they like aesthetically make them look like the alien race, don't they? But obviously they didn't need to do that here. He's quite happy just posing as a human or whatever. So it could have been.
He does have more experience. I was saying he does. Sorry.
We do see it in Star Trek time and time again, where they send off their senior staff to like infiltrate a base and do black ops stuff. It's like no, you have Marines for that, or you should do. You shouldn't just be sending the command crew to do it.
No,
Well,
but you see him a lot for these undercover ones. He ended up on that planet where he had to basically get raped in order to get out.
is that First Contact?
Yeah, and then he's sent down with Deanna Troi when they're doing the bootleg Vulcans, caveman Vulcans,
Who
or
watches
whatever.
watches?
And then here again, so he might be one of the ones that is specifically trained or experienced in these sort of plump him down into different terrain. So it could just be his military record.
He would have obviously had other jobs before he became a commander, so I suppose it could have been one of his previous areas.
I'd
But again,
suggest I'd suggest now, though, that after the First Contact debacle where he went down to go undercover and then ended up strapped to a table in a medical institution, and then they sent him down to this one because he's got experience in this kind of, and he ends up getting caught and strapped down in a medical institution. They probably should choose someone else next time because he's probably not very good at it.
But from a writing perspective, generally they felt like Riker's character was a little bit underutilized, and unlike some of the other characters, he's somebody who's a friendly character. You can do humor with him. You can do action. So they thought, oh well, let's just jerk him around and drive him crazy.
And they certainly do that. We do get to see different aspects of Riker and also Jonathan Frakes' acting ability.
It's one of his best performances ever, I think.
I think it is. I mean, to be honest, it's funny because, like,
Hello, everybody.
if you'd asked,
Hello.
it's Mr. Tommykins. It's the beard. Good evening to you, sir. How's the new job? Is it good? Is he enjoying his new job, Tavi?
He is. This is week number 2, and he gets to play with a lot of new machines, so he's very happy.
Yeah, cool. See, if you were to talk about, to me, like Jonathan Frakes episodes like this, I'd have thought about the First Contact episode. I would have thought about like things like Future Imperfect. You know, but Frame of Mind is just not an episode that sticks in my brain.
Thing with this episode, you know, like there's been a few episodes, Monty Band, that you've said that, you know, you've watched it and it's like almost watching it for the first time. She can't really remember it very well. Well, that's kind of justified for you because it had been quite a long time since you'd rewatched these. But I rewatched these on a regular basis, and I still started this episode, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" It really just did not register as being very familiar, but I don't know why. You know, it should be. So odd.
It was a surprise to me, this episode. So I think it's possibly his best episode, to be honest. Well, it is at least the best episode we've had since so far for Riker. I think it's better than First Contact or Future Imperfect. And Jonathan Frakes himself, I mean, he prefers to be a director. He doesn't actually think he's a very good actor himself. He doesn't think he's a very good actor. So he's more happy behind the camera. But I think this episode shows that he can act, you know.
Well, there's one scene where he gets up to the table and goes, "No!" and it's really awful. But yeah, for the most part, it's all right. I mean, you're playing a crazy person, so you can't really overact. You know, it's fine.
Yeah, that's it. It's got to be a bit larger than life for what he's doing. So obviously, towards the end of this act, we got introduced to the Doctor, Dr. Cyrus, and the actor David Selberg also was historian Wayland in the first season episode, The Big Goodbye. And the other thing I wanted to mention is, you know, we were talking about the future and mental health and things like that. So Brannon Braga briefly considered whether to sort of, you know, in a lot of the script, Jonathan Frakes is going, I'm not crazy. And crazy is kind of like a frowned upon mental health term. And they thought about removing it, but, you know, they didn't want to change, you know, to current political correctness when they don't know what future political correct words would be and things like that. So they just left it in, but it was something that they thought about, like, you know, whether to modify the language to try and make it a little bit more, less sort of hard hitting in that way. But
I'm not a retard. Oh no.
No.
Oh no.
Well, the problem with language is no matter what word is politically correct now, in 30 years' time, it won't be.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is
you know,
it.
you can't call someone a spastic anymore. You know, it's just a no. Or, as I said, calling someone retarded, it's completely gone out of the language, just not allowed. And whatever words, they go, okay, we'll replace it with another word. But yeah, as I said, 30 years come along and they go, actually, we're not okay with that now, and they have to change it to something else again. It just keeps moving.
Yeah.
So it makes it difficult because whatever language you use, it's going to date it at some point. But
pretty much, yeah.
They just sort of
always
wanted to leave it in there as a, you know, the kind of the most frustrated or passionate word at the time that you could use for somebody who's, you know, losing their marbles.
Yeah. Okay, answers to the question, Sean. I totally didn't copy everyone else.
So it was Prime Minister and it was a pendant.
Marvellous. I think we're all on the board again.
Yes.
I'm spinning the wheel.
And Stu Plums needs to go on the board.
Oh no! Stop!
No.
Who? I don't know what. Who won? It's just not. Oh, damn it! God damn it!
Stu Plum needs to go on. Stu Plum needs to go on.
Fine. I didn't want to win anyway. I'm spinning the wheel. Oh, he just took my score. Steve!
Oh, yay! I'm glad we added you.
Hey. Wonderful. Oh dear. Very good. Very good. Very good. Okay, Act 2.
We all drinking wine tonight.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm on the Chardonnay. The Casillero Diablo Chardonnay, my go-to Chardonnay. I do like it. Let us know in live chat what you're on this evening if you haven't done already. I'm not sure. People have put in the.
This is my dessert.
If you could like the stream, please feel free to tickle the like button. It's now animated, so you can see it go up in real time. The number of likes. It's pretty cool. So noticed was a new feature.
Speaking of likes,
Ooplam's having a gin cocktail. That sounds nice.
Ooh.
we're up to 517 subscribers. It's still creeping up.
Creeping up. Okay,
it might end up getting much higher because now we're in this gap where everyone has to wait until next year for more Trek release.
That's true.
So of course everyone's online going, I need something to fill the gap. We need reviews. We need something. We just look up everything I can.
I saw a statistic there recently enough, and it was just about the number of episodes per year. And like 2016 it was 8, and then 2017 it was 12 and stuff. But then you get up to 2021 and it was like 50. Last year it's down to 16, and this year it's down to 16 or 20 again. And next year we'd be looking to get 12 by the looks of it. Well, actually no, because the Prodigy's releasing. It depends on which day they release it, so we should get the 20 episodes of Prodigy. But if we weren't getting that, then it would be fairly poor again. Like, we'll get no Strange New Worlds next year, most likely.
It's the same with all franchises, isn't it? With the writer's strike and the actor's strike and all that.
We have the Prodigy.
Well, we got Prodigy in the bag, so, there's that.
And don't dismiss it as a kid show. It's actually pretty damn good. It's really probably the most faithful of the new series to old, 90s Trek.
Stuplum just got the 3rd of May, 1993. Yes. I said that at the beginning. Yes. Indeed.
That was his birthday.
It was his birthday. That's why I said, hey, Stuplum, 3rd of May. Yeah. Anyway, Act 2 then. Riker demands to know what's going on. The Doctor asks where he was a moment ago, and Riker describes being on the Enterprise and in a play. But for some reason, he can't remember who he is. He wasn't you were 47 on the 3rd of May, 1993.
Oh,
Wow.
nice.
What a coinkydink.
Yes, 47. Yes.
I thought he was saying he was born in 1947.
46. Close.
Same year as my dad. Actually, my dad was born the 31st of May in 46.
There you go.
Stupid, the 47 reference.
Yeah, 47 reference and your birthday all rolled into one. Brilliant. The Doc thinks this is good as he's now coming out of his delusional state. He reminds Riker how they contacted Starfleet and they talked to Admiral Budrow, who Riker remembered was from Starbase 29. But he reported that they'd never heard of him. And the Doctor introduces himself as Dr. Cyrus. Riker remembers that his head hurts, but instead of it being inflicted by a clumsy Klingon, the Doc tells him that he hit his head on a door whilst wrestling with one of their attendants. The Doctor tells him it's transposition, translating instances from the real world into his fantasy world. The Doctor says he's making progress and leaves him alone in his cell. We see him walking down a corridor. I'm pretty sure I've seen that corridor somewhere before. But we haven't got the the website now telling us where all these things are from. So who knows?
I do like the the set, the way it's in 10 forward as the as the playroom or the performance room, but then they managed to have open a door and it go through a. I don't know if they moved that one flat to the corridor, they just zoomed the camera in, or how exactly they built the set. But it's fairly seamless, the way they change it from different areas. And I suppose it's almost Kubrickian. It's like when he did The Shining, he deliberately made the sets in such a way that they don't fit together correctly because he wanted to confuse the brain. So it kind of achieves that probably by accident, but it nonetheless achieves it. By having like a corridor where it couldn't go through the 10 forward set.
Yes. Ex Astra's Sentia. We don't have the information from that website anymore for these episodes. Sad times. So Riker holds his head in pain, and an orderly comes over the intercom telling him that he's being allowed out into the common area today. Whoopee! So they enter his cell, with one of them telling him that they'll be serving spiny lobefish, which is something to look forward to. And then the other one has a weapon. Riker tells him there's no need for that, but the big one says that, yeah, right, you said that last time. So we assume that Riker did cause some trouble there. Am I getting a little breathy? I do apologise. I have asthma, you see. It's my problem. I'll try to move
Must
it
go faster.
A little bit further away. There you go. Right. So they escort him to the common area, and you can hear screams in the distance. They pass an alien that was the same one as he saw on the Enterprise earlier. In the common area, there are a number of Telonians, one playing sticks, another painting, and one of them, Jaya, sits down and tells him she is Starfleet from the USS Yorktown. She tells him that she's made a communicator and there are ships in orbit ready to beam them out. She pulls out a communicator, but it's a spoon.
Do you know the significance of the name Yorktown?
Well, it was the Enterprise before Enterprise A, before it got recommissioned because the Enterprise blew up. It was going to be the Enterprise. Yeah. I think originally in Star Trek, I think that it was going to be the Yorktown before they decided on the Enterprise.
Yeah, that's correct, yeah.
And then
both of those are
Star
correct.
Trek, I guess it would be 13 now.
The Kelvin timeline?
In the Kelvin timeline, in honor of all those Yorktowns, they named the star base the Yorktown.
Yep, yeah. Correct on all counts.
So, the big orderly mocks her for playing starships again and tells her to return the spoon to the common area cutlery when she leaves. Riker confirms he is not that far gone, is he? But the orderly laughs and says, of course he is. Riker remembers he's called Mavek. Mavek tells Riker how when they brought him in, it took a number of them to hold him down and clean the blood off his hands and clothes. He didn't just kill that man, he mutilated him. Riker is surprised by this revelation and is annoyed at the accusation. Mavek continues, though, that, oh yes, you stabbed that man 9 times, so the punishment is going to be severe. So Riker, to prove he's not a lunatic, murdering psycho, leaps to his feet and launches himself at the orderly and tries to strangle him to death, leading him to be restrained and injected with some drugs that knock him out.
Yeah, the great paradox of being locked in a mental hospital. How do you prove you're not crazy? You go, I'm not crazy. And then you act out and hit someone. No matter what you do, you're just...
Because you're mad.
Everything you do will reinforce the idea that you have a mental illness.
Let's face it, we put ourselves on YouTube, so let's hope none of us ever get locked up because they'll never let us out. Because we must be mad.
Although, probably in like 10 or 20 or 30 or 50 or 100 years, they may trawl through old YouTube videos and be able to create AI models of people. So we could be doing things long after we're dead. They get a couple of hours, 5 or 6 hours of us talking and interacting and moving our heads around, and they can digitally recreate us and have us run a call center or something.
Oh my
Be a greeter
God.
at a restaurant.
Like the last 12 pictures didn't come up.
Oh.
Tabby, last time I
It's
put this
question
back
time,
on.
right?
Not quite.
Oh, not quite.
No. So, after he gets knocked out, they wake him. He wakes up in his quarters on the Enterprise. But yeah, I'll just go back. Was it the entire act? did I miss the entire act? Yeah, I just missed the entire act worth of pictures. Nobody noticed. Anyway, there was the doc. That was his name. There was Riker remembering about his head. There's the doc telling him, or walking out on him.
That's the Klingon. That's the Klingon corridor.
That's me saying about the corridor. Nobody knows what I was talking about, and here's me talking about.
Sorry. That's. Do you know on the Klingon ships that they have the long necks, like Naomi Campbell. So they have the long neck corridor. That's what
Is that,
or maybe it's the standard Enterprise corridor, and it just has panels on it because it's kind of it's the octagonal kind of shape.
Yeah,
Maybe they just plot panels on it.
I've certainly seen it before.
I think it could be the Klingon one from the Bird of Prey.
That's them coming into his cell. That's them escorting him to the common area. That's the lady who comes and joins him and says she's from the Yorktown with her spoon. This is him laughing at him for being a nutcase. This is him telling him he stabbed him 9 times. This is Riker launching himself at him and trying to strangle him to death. And this is Riker waking up in his quarters. So apologies about that.
We only consider it a problem if you don't get to the one photo that I need so badly. So much that I'm going to look at that photo after the show.
Yeah. Fair enough. There you go. That's. I was so worried about breathing over the audience through my breathiness that I completely messed up showing the pictures. So there you go. Okay, question time.
Okay, so what fish are they serving today? A. Vacuole fish, B. Chilean sea bass, C. Spiny lobefish, or D. Adosian suckerfish? And the bonus question is, how did the therapist tell Riker he hit his head?
Wow.
So the therapist telling Riker as opposed to Riker thinking how he did it.
Maz?
Ruth was saying that because Chief Sean was saying, there's so much footage of us online that they could turn us into AI avatars, and you went, and then you went, I haven't been showing any pictures, but Ruth thought you were like shocked at the idea of being turned into
Oh yeah, Google will
like
own us after
an
we're
AI
dead.
Yeah.
avatar.
Yeah,
I was thinking it'd be great. They would just have to improvise what the back of my head looks like because you really never gets to
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Google probably owns all the rights to all these recordings. Who's to say 20 years after we're dead, I'm not, in some godforsaken Las Vegas Irish team pub greeting people at the door. Very possible.
You never know. You never know.
She thought it was some kind of existential crisis you were having one day.
It's quite possible.
Funny.
I generally am having some kind of existential crisis. So I wouldn't write the possibility off, to be honest.
Just remember that there are 4 lights.
Oh, 4. Yeah.
Do you have a?
But there is no spoon.
There's no
Or the spoon
spoon.
isn't a communicator.
Very
I'm
good.
not sure.
Not according to this woman. There's no spoon. There's a communicator. Yeah.
So, not very much on the trivs, but there was a 47 reference. Obviously, he's imprisoned in Ward 47. And the lady with the spoon, Susanna Thompson, has played a number of other characters in the Star Trek franchise. Are you aware of that?
I recognised her.
She plays the Borg Queen in Dark Frontier, Unimatrix Zero and Unimatrix Zero Part 1. She's also Lenara Khan in Rejoined, Varel in The Next Phase, and obviously Jaya in Frame of Mind. So, yeah, she's been in a few.
So she's the one that Terry Farrell has the lesbian kiss with.
Oh, yes, that's the one.
That was Lenara
Bing,
Khan.
bing, bing. Oh,
Bing,
yeah, that
bing.
went straight off in his head.
Memories going off.
Everything else, like, drawn a blank. Lesbian kiss.
Draw the blank, lesbian kiss. Oh, that one. Yes. I'm with you now.
That'll do it.
I'll do it. Yeah. Yeah.
Is it, wait, where was the kiss done?
On the lips.
Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
yeah,
wasn't
on
an
the lips.
Australian kiss.
Okay.
Have you not got that far yet, Tammy?
No, she's still in season 2, I think.
Aha.
No, I'm in 3 now.
Hey!
I don't think you've long to wait. I think it's the season 3 episode.
Oh, yeah.
You'll see soon.
You're in the good shit now.
Yeah. If Cisco has shaved his head,
The
you're
good
you're
shit
in a good
lollipop.
place.
Oh, yeah. That's the good Star Trek shit right there, man. Eh?
Well, I will eventually get back around to my Trek, but I'm currently in season 3 of SG-1, so.
We got more Babylon 5 coming on Sunday.
Yeah. And I might rewatch Andromeda after that, I don't know.
I don't think I could do that.
Andromeda, because of Kevin
No.
Sorbo.
Yeah, I just didn't like him. I thought the first season was okay, but then after that, it all kind of got a bit janky.
Oh, season 4 went fairly batty, yeah. But I haven't rewatched it in like 12 years, so it's kind of been a while.
Yeah, it's a good one.
But yeah, Kevin Sorbo, not the greatest of people. Yeah, he's gone a bit kind of anti-vax loon, so yeah. But I don't know, I might try it again, we'll see.
Yeah. But Farscape's a good one. That's one I like to go back to every now and again.
I'm also going to start rewatching Stargate, I think.
Yes,
I think
we
that's
talked
a
about
great
that
one.
back along, didn't we?
I haven't seen that.
It still holds up, the humor, the dialogue, and you know it hasn't aged badly at all. I mean, other than
It's
some
one
of
that
the-
I haven't rewatched at all, I don't think. So it's going to be all like fresh to me, I think. So
I mean,
yeah.
some
That's
of the
super-
technology
If you-
looks a bit 90s, the giant radios and the really crappy webcams and things like that, and the old CRT monitors. But outside of that, it hasn't aged at all. It's perfect. It's really not. It doesn't hit a bad beat until like season 7 or 8.
But the
Yeah,
thing
we
is,
love the Orville bookie.
Yeah,
But it's a
we-
bit too recent to get nostalgic about.
No, that's true. That's true.
I rewatched it recently, and my level of nerdiness, I noticed one of the extras was someone I knew who's a set designer on Picard.
Bear with
I
me
was
a
like,
minute.
oh, there he is. Well, we lost Monty for a second. Okay, well, I may as well give the answers while, because he managed to turn his camera off, but the mic's still going. Anyway, yeah, so it was C. Spiny Lovefish, and he said he hit his head on a door. Well, I suppose he's a tall guy, but he's not that tall.
No.
And yeah, the others are all fish from Star Trek, but I put in Chilean sea bass. Someone will probably tell me what that's from.
I recognise it.
Okay. I'll
Deep
give
Space
you-
Nine?
I'll give you a clue. There you go.
Oh, right.
Jurassic Park.
Let's see.
There you go. Yeah, that's what they have for lunch at Jurassic Park.
Yeah. I just going back. Sorry, I just someone's boiling a kettle, so I just wanted to just close the door. But about the CRT monitors and the big walkie-talkies and things, the thing is, unlike TNG, which is like, you know, made in the 90s but set in the future, Stargate is kind of set in the 90s, isn't it? So it doesn't matter if you watch it now and it's got old-fashioned things in it, because it's kind of set in that period anyway. So
yeah, I mean, Atlantis, I never watched it all, but the sets look really cheesy. And, you know, they look like sets, but when SG-1 did it, it looked real. As I say, when it got to Season 7, Season 8, they start doing the ORI stuff, it becomes a little bit crap then.
Bit weird, yeah.
Up to that.
It went on too long, probably, didn't it? It probably could have done 7 seasons.
If it finishes Season 7 or Season 8,
they'd
have to come up with the ORI and Origin and all that stuff. It wasn't great. But
the thing is, what I liked about it as well is each episode, you got like lots of location shoots. You know, they seem to be like on deserts or in forests and like on cliffs, and do you know what I mean? It was actually like a lot of where like TNG or whatever is always like Planet Hell every week. You know, it was always like you can tell it's on a soundstage.
Yeah, they managed.
SG-1 had that kind of filmic like quality about it because they had all that location shooting.
Yeah, and I'm watching some 720p upscales, and it really looks good. And as I realise, most of them are, you know, forests around Vancouver. But yeah, as I said, sometimes they have internal sets, external sets. It's very hard to tell the reuses. Okay, some of the internal sets are a little bit cheesy, but for the most part, you're going like, this is miles ahead of what Star Trek was doing at the same time. You know, they built such a really rich world around the time, just in terms of the effort and budget. So.
Wookie says his friend's brother, who lectures politics at St. Martin's, is friends with the guy who plays Isaac. It's pretty cool.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
A few steps removed, but still pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, you had the answers. So who's on the wheel?
Every blobby.
I'm spinning the wheel then. Everybody lose points.
Well, at least that affects everybody.
Oh dear.
Wookie, you naughty boy.
He's taking our points. He's running for the hills.
I love it.
That was the right face for that Wookiee spin there. That's the that's the reaction we all wanted. Yeah. Okay. So Act 3. So Riker's back on the Enterprise and he's preparing for the play. He's putting on his makeup. And Crusher, he's telling Crusher about his dream. And how he was really locked up in a hospital for stabbing someone. She tells him he certainly looks the part for the play. He does look a bit of a mess. The play goes on like we'd seen before, but when he looks to the door, he sees the orderly staring back at him, which ends up making him confused. The audience just thinks he's forgotten his lines. Then for a moment, instead of the set of the play, he was back in his cell. But then he's back in the play, so he continues his lines, but then he sees the Telonian officer sitting next to Picard again, so he marches over to him, grabs him and asks him who he is, and yells that he's behind all this. The officer apologizes and says that he's actually Lieutenant Sooner. Beverly takes the confused Riker to sickbay. Bless you.
Going.
In sickbay, she can't find anything wrong except that he's exhausted. But Riker's not buying it. He feels there's something definitely up. Later, walking the corridor with Troy, Riker asks how Sooner's doing, and Troy says he's fine. Riker feels like an idiot. Troy assures him everyone understands that he's been under a lot of stress recently. Data pulls up and congratulates Riker on his performance. He thought his unexpected improvisation really drew a realistic interpretation of a multi-infarct dementia, And Riker is like, thanks, I guess. Troy recommends some meditation techniques, but Will doesn't think they work for him. He then hears the doctor in his mind, maybe you need another treatment. And that shakes him to his core. He goes and gets in a turbo lift, but instead of taking him to the next floor, the doors open on the hospital corridor. He then runs through the corridor and finds Jaya, the person who believed that she was from the USS Yorktown, and she tells him to not believe them and he's not crazy. So he takes off running through the Enterprise corridors again, and he gets to his quarters, but when the doors close behind him, instead of the customary whoosh sound, there's a clank, and instead of his quarters, the room turns out to be the hospital cell. Riker sinks to the floor, wailing for help. Help me! And that's the end of the act, and question time. Nice uniform change there, Sean. All it required was a sneeze.
Yeah, I have to unmute at the exact wrong moment.
Did you do it like a TikTok? Did you do it like a TikTok? And did you go, achoo, and then you like uniform, just like
I did a kind of hop thing. No,
yeah, you did a hop thing, and you just like changed uniform, like in a.
I could probably record a video of me with the background and just have me just sitting here, in a loop for about 4 minutes and see how long it takes you to notice that I'm actually not here and just disappear for a while. It's very easy to do that, but Anyway, we'll move on with the questions. Who is the actress who plays Jaya? Is it A, Alice Krieg, B, Annie Wersching, C, Susanna Thompson, or D, Jane Edwina Seymour? No, we did just say it, so hopefully you were all paying it masses trivia. And what is the one symptom Beverly detects when examining Riker? And yes, I change it to the blue to keep Tavia on her toes and see. And I never wear the blue, so I always feel bad for the people who get it in the bingo because it's hard to mark off.
It's a rare blue outfit change. The lesser spotted blue. What name did she... Now, let's go through. It's definitely not Alice Krieg, who is the Borg Queen. And it's not Jane Edwina Seymour. So it's between Annie Wersching and Susanna Thompson.
Shall I continue with or do you want to muse a bit more on Monty?
Oh no, carry on. Sorry, I'm just in my own little headspace there for a moment.
Cool. I forgot to say on the last act, but in the common area, there was another inmate there who I thought looked familiar, so I looked him up, and although yes, I probably did recognize him from something. He's played very minor parts. So he actually played a corpse in Time's Arrow, which wouldn't have been what I recognized him from. But he's one of the trial spectators in All Good Things, which is probably what I did recognize him from. Because there's a bit of a crowd there, but a few of those people have got quite memorable looks. So that's probably where I saw him from. His name is Teda Bracci, I think. So what else? Data tells Riker that he gave a realistic performance of a multi-infarct dementia. And, some people have observed that his character's behavior was more in common with schizophrenia. But in reading up on what multi-infarct dementia is, it's like somebody who's like a little bit slow and confused and disoriented and undergoing behavioral changes. So I'm wondering if it was like a little bit of a sort of jokingly meant as like one of those sort of Data almost half insults that he doesn't mean to give, where he's basically, because obviously Riker was really confused about what was going on and seeing things. He was sort of implying that, he was acting that way. whereas, he was supposed to be acting more like a sort of schizophrenia. I thought it was really funny as well that they just seemed to think he was improvising. Anyway,
I congratulate you on your use of improvisation.
Yeah.
And Troy is like, everybody understands that you've been under stress, and then Data comes along and goes, "Oh, congratulations on you improvising," and then wanders off, and she's like, "Well, almost everybody understands."
It did make me chuckle. So there's another observation that, Schisms, which is the one where Riker's sleep deprived, and he basically walks through the whole episode with his hair in disarray. And this is the second episode where he basically goes the whole episode with his hair in disarray.
The Riker disarray look.
Yeah, Riker bedhead. So yeah, that's all I got, I'm afraid.
It's good.
So what have we got on the answers? Has everybody answered? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, everybody's answered.
And what is the answers?
Okay, well, the first one
everybody
is
said
Susanna Thompson.
C. Yeah, everybody got that right.
Can someone tell me what the link is between all those 4 actresses?
They played the Borg Queen.
Yeah, they all played the Borg Queen.
Yeah.
Jane Edwina Seymour played it in Picard, but the voice was actually Alice Krige. Yeah, Susanna Thompson was originally the second choice to play the Borg Queen, and then obviously Alice Krige got it. And then, when she wasn't available for Voyager, they brought back in Susanna Thompson. And then when she was available for the final episode, they brought back in Alice Krige and kicked her to the curb, which is a fairly mean thing to do. And it was High Blood Pressure was the second one. That's the only thing they detected. Which, if he's being
So for the
stressed,
second one, we had high blood pressure, fatigue, exhausted, and fatigue. So was it just
two high blood pressures? High blood pressure.
Fatigue and exhausted are symptoms, but the only thing she actually detected was high blood pressure. So that's
just me and Tavi then.
You and Tavi.
1 in a third chance that we're going to lose 10 points.
Me, Tavi, and Wookie.
Yeah.
Bring on the danger.
Danger, Will Robinson.
Right, ready? Spin the wheel. Tabby!
Yay! So just for a quick recap on the scores, I know we've got two to go. But Stu Plum and myself are in first place with 200 points.
Doing bad this week.
Shortly behind us is Monty, Van and Ruth, only 10 points less with 190. And shortly behind them is Tabby with 180. So we're all within 20 points at the moment. So pretty close.
Pretty close. That's good. Okay, on to Act 4. Making our way through it quite nicely this evening. In the hospital common area, Dr. Cyrus confirms with Riker that he believes the hospital is real and that Starship is not real. So that's good. He wants to understand how he got here. The doctor tells him he won't be here for long because they're going to be ready to settle the case. The doc gives him a choice. Option 1, use reflection therapy to help him remember and prove fit to stand trial. They'll scan his brain and then they'll reconstruct what they find holographically. Or option 2, they reconstruct his cerebral cortex via surgery, killing the Riker personality that he is at the moment, creating a whole new different Riker. Riker goes for option 1. It doesn't sound like a very nice option, does it? Option 2. Later, they start the reflection therapy with the device scanning Riker's brain, where Dr. Cyrus asks him to think back to before the hospital about how he felt. Riker admits to feeling scared and Troy appears. The doc tells Riker that this must represent his feelings. She tells him that he was terrified at being in a dark and cold place. Someone was there, threatening him. Next, Riker felt anger. So Worf appears, telling him...
For some reason, I feel like, for some reason, when he starts describing these things in the way you're doing it, I just hear the heat of the night playing in the background and walking down this alley. I can feel it calling in the air of the night.
Hold on. Yeah. Next, Riker felt anger, so Worf appeared, telling him he was being attacked. But he fought back and was injured. There was a struggle. Then Picard appears and continues that someone had followed him and grabbed him from behind. 3 humanoids in total, though he only saw one face. When Riker asked what they looked like, Lieutenant Suna appears. The doc tells Riker that, Mr. Suna is the hospital administrator. This confuses both Riker and the doctor as to what this all means. Then, each of the holographic crew tell Riker not to believe them. None of this is real. He's still on the Enterprise. He is safe. Riker tells them that they are all delusions. He yells at them to leave him alone, and they all disappear. The doctor is pleased that Riker's turned his back on his delusions. Later in the common area, Riker's eating some slop when Dr. Crusher approaches him in civilian dress. She asks Riker if he knows who she is, and Riker tries to ignore her. She tells him he was captured whilst undercover and is being falsely accused of murder. The administrator denies he's even here. She thinks there's a conspiracy, and she tells him to sit tight. They will get him out. Later that night, should we just end it there? Should we not bother going any further? There's no need to bring up the next picture, I don't think, or any of the next couple of pictures. It's just not there.
I will smother you in your sleep.
Okay. Oh, what's happened?
Devona needs her data plan.
I do. I need my fix, especially after tonight.
Oh no, the next picture's broken. Why has that happened?
Okay, I will log off right now.
There's all captains there except for Spock. Well, I guess he does get to be captain.
Hang on. Where is it?
Good night.
Was it that picture? It might have been that picture.
No, she wants the song semen.
Yeah.
Woo!
Let's go with that one.
In black, oh my gosh.
Has Worf got data bent over there? Oh, sorry.
Ooh. I'm down with it.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're turned in the corner. Oh my.
So later that night, Data and Worf appear in black commando gear, and they try to take him, but Riker resists by feigning a feint and calling the guards, leaving Worf and Data trapped. Let's just go through these. They grab him, they take him. He faints. The guards get called, and they're trapped.
Oh, that's the photo. That is the photo. Jesus Christ. Woo!
I must say, Worf looks pretty good there as well, actually. So yeah, let's.
Look at that. Lord had added all that padding to his. He didn't even need to do that. He just needed that sleek black. Oh, I am in physical pain right now. That is beautiful.
I should frame that one and just give it to yourself and Mass.
I'm sorry, sweetie.
John Hurt.
Good young said, love you too. Oh my God, look at that torso and those shoulders.
What can I say?
Bosom for a pillow, indeed.
It is enough to turn a man, I guess. So yeah, I can understand. Yeah.
A bit like milk that's been in the fridge for 4 or 5 days, you know, on the turn.
On the turn, yeah. I've actually got Worf in that black outfit somewhere in my bag as a little figure.
Your little BDSM Worf.
Yeah.
Well,
That photo is so
kind of
good.
The same thing in Birthright, part 1 and 2 as well. So.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Wookiee's partner is a pike man. She likes the side sticking up quaff. Or is it the?
Probably
Is it?
Peruvian people, they've got like a double quaff going on a lot of the time. They've got the M on their head, and they have like their hair does this behind it.
I don't know if it could have been the radiation riddled one in a black thing with a little beeping light. I don't know. Each to their own.
Yeah, not that pike.
Not that pike. No. All right. Fair enough.
Don't even think about it. Don't even think it. You just leave this right here, like you left that last photo up for the whole scene, and you can just keep talking.
Don't tell him your name, Pike.
It's not the end of the scene, right?
Oh, sorry. End of act.
Pike!
Question time.
Oh, it is the end of act, so we do get to leave this one up. Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, Tavi, what's the difference between curtains and toilet paper?
No.
Ah, so it was you.
No, so nasty.
Mazza wanted a dad joke, so must be on a bingo. Sorry, there you go.
Good one.
I wanted a dad joke earlier.
It's like
Okay, so
I'm just trying to remember.
Tavikins.
Sweetie,
Tavikins. People have been calling you an owl.
How so? What?
Oh.
What?
who?
Oh, right.
Didn't work.
I would have said why.
Hold on. There's a question.
Try, Monty.
Tavi, I'll read the questions. I'll give you one more. What is the third projection to appear to Riker? A. Worf, B. Picard, C. Suna, D. Deanna. And the bonus question: which of the series regulars did not appear in this act? Tavi, do you remember that old this act? This is not the episode, just this act. Tavi, do you remember that old joke about boomerangs?
No.
Don't worry, it'll come back to you.
Saw that one coming a mile off.
Oh.
I love this.
Cool. Okay. So, it's not a piece of trivia, but they have like that tubey prop for when
the
he's
Billups
doing
tubes.
his regression therapy. I just thought that
Tucker
tubey
tubes.
prop's probably been used for things before. But
We had the
what?
one with the lasers that go in a circle.
The what?
the thing that they used when he did the regression thing, they had like some
This thing.
Yeah, that tubey thing. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, that thing. Oh.
I haven't got the thing. We haven't got the ex-Astros anymore, so I've got no
Excellent,
clue
yeah,
about
yeah.
props.
Anyway.
Yeah.
And slim pickings on this act, but you've sort of already mentioned this before, but this is the second time that Riker's gotten into trouble and been trapped on an alien world during an undercover mission, with the other one being First Contact. And it's also the second time he was trapped in a multi-layered simulation that challenges his memories and perceptions of reality.
Future
The other
Imperfect.
one being Future Imperfect. So it's like a bit of a theme with Riker.
Yeah. It's like they need to get Riker out of his comfort zone because else he's just a fun-loving, jazz-playing, like nice guy, And apart from him making him
Flirting up the ladies.
apart from making him seem stupid because he doesn't know how to follow orders, or that's the only other thing they do with him. A bit like Worf, he's the big
It feels
strong
like they should
one.
have given him some kind of moral dilemmas to grapple with, something
Yeah, like Kirk.
a little
like,
bit different, but yeah. 'cause,
He's too chill for that. He's too
dilemmas.
chill.
They should have given him some meteor away missions where he has autonomy. And he's got to decide on the fly in the away mission whether to sacrifice these. You're a bit more of a Picard type thing, but whilst on action in real time on the planet. Do you know what I mean? That sort of thing. I don't know. He didn't quite get used to
we
his
do
full effect.
have second chances coming up where he meets
that's
Thomas
true.
Riker. And
That's another good Riker
they're
episode.
both the same age, but he's a commander, and obviously Thomas is a lieutenant, and the friction of the lieutenant being foolhardy and risk taking, and you know, we get into all of that.
We'll get into all of that.
Away.
Yeah.
So we have 5 answers. They're all the same. B and Geordie.
Okay, I need to start asking harder questions.
So yeah,
right.
Monty then's there.
And
Stu Plum's there. And Ruth is there. So yeah, just gonna double them. And spin that wheel. Oh no.
Oh,
Tuffy,
you got...
Tuffy,
Oh!
what a king.
Yes!
Everybody there.
I love it. So painful.
Not again. Wookie! One day I'll get some points. Yeah, well done, Wookie. Congratulations for stealing all our points. Our hard-earned points. Yeah, we're going to end up less points than we started with. Okay. We're into the final act already. It's not even 9:30.
No, we're good. Hold on, we still need to discuss this a little more. We need to discuss this just a little bit more. Hold on. Yes. Don't you want to talk about lighting or something?
It's gone.
Oh no, damn it.
I do want to talk about that shot because that's a pretty great shot because you can see quite clearly that's a redress corridor because it's completely different architectural style to the set, you know, of the show. Yeah, it's even a different color, and okay, they put in those weird yellow things to kind of mess it up. But I'm fairly sure, as I said, that's the Klingon corridor that goes down the neck of the bird of prey.
Oh, it might be.
90% sure.
Yeah.
So that's what if you have darker with red lights.
Yeah,
smoke,
okay.
And you took those yellow things out. I think that's what it is.
I'm pretty impressed with the plush carpet they've got going on there. It looks pretty nice. I'm thinking of something like that for my hallway.
Yeah, I was actually supposed to be moving a set today, but I had this, so I couldn't do it. Well, anyway, it is actually fun, like the putting together and taking down striking a set. Like you do learn a bit, and even if you've done it once or twice, you do get a kind of a more nuts and bolts understanding of how these things are put together. Even if you only ever did it once, you'd know, but you know, you kind of understand it. You can kind of deconstruct the elements in your mind, kind of thing. You can see where the joins are.
Yeah. Can I just say, I just want to point out something here. I think season 6, especially towards the end of season 6 here, we got really into what I feel is like, I don't know, the modern era of TNG. When TNG looked the most like the lighting, the sets, the costumes stopped looking like 80s and looked, you know, more professional and more modern, you know.
Timeless, yeah.
But yes, it's timeless because if you look at all the costumes in this, I mean, if you look at Dr. Crusher when she came into that, you know, she was wearing those civilian clothes, and you look at the set design in this episode, and you look at what they were, it really doesn't look old. It looks pretty good. It looks pretty good even today.
Yeah,
compared to like season like 2 or 3 or something, you know.
Even the actors, you know, the actors are in their 70s and 80s right now, but when you look at these guys, I mean, it doesn't look old either.
No, he doesn't he? He's looking pretty young and spry.
Yeah, I think
I had to be stupid for a little bit.
I mean, he's 74. I mean, obviously he's not Picard old, but you know, he's one of the outside of him. I think he's one of the oldest. But yeah, they're all in their 70s except for Patrick, who's in his 80s.
But he's still got some fit legs. Have you seen that man's legs?
Oh,
Remember the photo?
That guy is in great shape. He's getting a bit dithery
I
though.
think Wookie's trying to be funny as well. He says, that's a good point, Monty. Even if you look at yourself, you're wearing something very similar to that in this day and age in reality.
Yeah, and well, I bought this uniform probably around the time this episode came out.
Oh my
really?
goodness, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like 19 or something when I bought this one. So it's about the same age.
You were like a little whippet back then, though. It must have hung off you.
I mean, I'd had it a year or two when Generations came out, and I lent it to to people. So yeah, I mean, I'd had it back then. I mean, I've stretched it right out now, but yeah.
But I mean, these things used to be hard to get. I realise now we live in the age of Kozer Mart and AliExpress. You wait a couple of weeks and you can get this stuff. But back in the day, it used to be quite. I mean, you could only get, like in Ireland, there was only one shop in the whole country that had it. There was a Forbidden Planet in Dublin. But I mean, that was it. You either went there or you didn't get it.
Okay, I'm going nostalgia fest now. Now we had two. On the outside of the Pannier Market in the centre of Plymouth, we had Kathy's Comics.
These comics.
Which was sort of my like hangout where I used to go like every Saturday, which had comics, but it also had like loads of Star Trek memorabilia and stuff in there, and I get my videos there and my characters and uniforms and all sorts of things. And there was another one up the other end of town called Purple Haze, which is another comic shop, and also sold lots of bits and bobs, but that was more sort of more gothic-y, more grungy than Kathy's Comics. But yeah, we were lucky that in that time in the 90s, Plymouth had two really good shops for that sort of thing. We still have down near where Kathy's Comics is or was, we still have a shop called Final Frontier, which is a comic shop, and again still has Star Trek stuff in it. So and Star Wars stuff and
there's also
Marvel
the
stuff.
Hive Mind.
And the Hive Mind, yeah, we've got the Hive Mind as well, yeah.
That's really cool. It's like all green and glowy and looks like a Borg cube.
It does, yes.
Well, I think there's kind of a bit of a resurgence coming in because retro games are becoming a bigger and bigger thing. And I think a lot of like what we're now in the comic shops and the kind of sci-fi stuff is now going into the kind of gaming stuff as well. So, they're able to kind of appeal to a lot of markets, and I think that's kind of keeping them going. So
Yeah.
you do go into that place. They've got retro games, they've got comics, they got plushies, they got Funkos, they have some cosplay stuff too. All in the one shop.
I never went to Forbidden Planet, the original one in London, but I'd have loved to have gone there back in the day. That'd have been great. Anyway, onwards with Act 5 then. So the guards go to apprehend Data and Worf, but they don't account for their strength and speed and are easily defeated. They grab Riker and they beam him home using some pattern enhancers. Crusher gives Riker the once-over in sickbay, telling Picard that she's found neural damage, like someone was trying to access his memories. It's going to take him a while to recover. Picard tells him about the abduction, and then his head starts bleeding. He doesn't look well in that picture, does he?
Looking straight up busted.
But no sooner as she fixes his bleeding head as it starts bleeding again. Riker suddenly gets a sense that none of this is real. So he smacks Worf over the head with a medical box and grabs his phaser. Worf, being Worf, he decides that rather than risk shooting everybody else because this is a fantasy, he'll test it out by shooting himself. And
That sounds very safe.
reality smashes and he's back in his cell with the dog, the orderly, and Mr. Sooner. Sooner declares they will have to perform a synaptic reconstruction. Dun 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 dun. In fact, the actual snap effect of them shattering like glass is actually pretty cool. I mean, I could probably do that now on my Adobe After Effects or my Power Director program, but back in the day, I mean, it's pretty cool. I like the way, like, the background smashes into glass first, and then the characters smash into glass individually. It's quite nicely done, even for, like, the early 90s, I thought. Anyhow. Riker realizes he still has his phaser. Though Suna tries to convince him that actually it's a knife he stole from one of the food trays in the common area. Riker grabs his head in pain, and the cut has returned. So he decides that he doesn't believe them either. And so he shoots Mavic, who shatters into glass. And he sets his phaser to level 16, which should destroy half of the compound, and shoots at the wall. But it all shatters. And he's back on the set of the play on the Enterprise. But instead of Data playing the Doctor, it's Mr. Suna. He realizes that Suna is somehow behind it all, as he's appeared in all realities. Then his head starts hurting again as the cut reemerges, and the more he pushes Suna, the more the Enterprise crew claps. So he gives Suna one big push until Riker himself explodes in a shower of glass. And here's what that looked like. Them clapping, him pushing, Riker exploding into glass and waking up on a table in a lab, where he has a neural drain in his head where he was perceiving a cut. And not long after that, the doctors tending him, Suna and another Talonian, realize that he is conscious. But Riker fights back. He grabs his comm badge pendant thing and gets Worf to beam him out of there. Later, Dr. Crusher has repaired his memory. In Picard's ready room, Riker recounts that he was in an alleyway, and was jumped by the men that he described before. He was drugged, and outlines to Picard how confusing it was for him jumping between the Enterprise and the hospital and back again. Yes, he probably is, Wookiee. And Troy thinks that his brain held on to elements of the real world to help keep him sane. And Riker agrees that the prep for the mission and the play were his most recent memories. Picard orders... What's that noise?
Wookiee's trying to say this is a poor man's total recall, but his speech-to-text thing twice, but this is a poor man's total recall. It's like he tried to correct it a second time and it came out the same. And I could see what he was trying to say and it just made me giggle.
Well, third time lucky there, wasn't it? Third time lucky.
I thought he was going back to our previous politically correct thing.
As well, yeah.
I know.
I thought it was
I was like, oh, that's not landing well.
Funnily ironic or coincidental. Oh dear.
Yeah, so Picard orders rest for Riker, but Riker first must do one thing. He wants to tear down the hospital set, because he couldn't sleep knowing it was still up. And the episode ends with Riker tearing it apart. So that's the end of the episode, and it's a question time.
While he's doing that, can you just scroll back a little bit to a photo we all know we need to see? We can just leave it there.
So I'll say the Ding Dong Pleasure Palace, I think.
Oh my God! Look at that! Look at that!
I had it memorized, so I knew exactly which photo I'd have to go back to later on. I was like, I'm gonna have to go back.
Oh,
here,
you knew I was gonna ask for it.
I need to know where it is in the order. Question
so
time,
how many days after landing was Riker abducted? A1, B2, C3, or D4? Which setting does Riker set the phaser to?
Remember we were going on and on wondering how many damn settings does this thing have?
I will say a phaser typically has 16 settings. So which one of those?
No. It's 47. It's 47. It's got the different melting things, and apparently now it's a weapon of mass destruction.
Rock heater. It's got food, warmer. I don't know.
Yeah. Sometimes they just shoot rocks to make light.
Disintegrate people. Disintegration beams.
Yeah, they have a wide sauna setting.
They have a wide beam and it can stun like 15 people at once. It's like, why is not always on that setting? You know, like when they're shooting people, like boom, bing, bing. It's like wide beam, just shoot them all, bang, done.
Yeah.
I wanted to point out, Monty, that Wookie was suggesting that you could have gone for a full body tattoo with your uniform when you were 19, and then you wouldn't have had to worry about it ever again. You could have gone to conventions, absolutely starkers. So yeah, I thought that was quite amusing.
The thing about tattoos, though, they all turn blue over time, don't they? So it'd just be like, my body would just be completely blue by now. I'd be just saggy and wrinkly and blue. Wouldn't be a good look.
You're supposed to get them touched up, You're not just supposed to get them one time and never fix them. You got to tidy them up.
You could always get one of those.
Make it snow.
Make it snow.
Oh my gosh. That black suit is just...
Yeah, that is okay for a science officer if it goes blue, right?
Yeah. I started off in command when I was 19, but by the time I'm like 50, I'm in science. Can I just give a thing about... where's this last picture? Yeah, so this set, right? Mm-hmm. But I got a question about it. This is actually like the aesthetic of the Telonian Medical Center. Now, I know it can be explained, like when he's dreaming going from the hospital to here, that Riker's just fashioning that in his head, right? Because it's drawing on his... But when he wakes up in the real world and he's strapped with the neural thing strapped to his head and whatnot, that's still in the same room with the same aesthetic. It has the same wall panels, the same lighting things, the same door. So
yeah, you can even see the camera shooting it from a tight angle to make sure to show that
it's the same. It's the same aesthetic. So why is the playroom have the same aesthetic to the Telonian place that he got captured in?
Well, because it was all in his mind. Oh, you mean when he wakes up? Oh,
yeah. When he wakes up there, actually wakes up there, it's the same aesthetic, same lights. Same
you need
everything.
to understand from this point out where this entire season and the rest of the next one is all a fabrication in his mind.
Yeah, we're just in Riker's head from now on. Yeah.
Everyone in the row where it's going. TNG ended in 6 seasons.
So he ends up with Troy and they have a child and he lives happily ever after. This is all just Riker's fantasy. Yeah. He becomes a captain and gets the Titan, and Deanna's somehow still by his side and they're married and...
Yeah. Because see, it starts out first where it ends and Diana passes away and him and Worf are like mean mugging it the whole time. But Picard, suddenly she's all healed. They've got a whole future.
It makes sense now when in Lower Decks you see Riker on the in the captain's chair, like on the Titan, like literally playing trumpet jazz whilst commanding his ship. It's like this is all in Riker's mind.
Warp 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, that's right.
And we know that's canon as well because the what's his face, the dipshit from Chicago, Captain Shaw brings it up. He's like that he had to like delete all the jazz off the database when he took it.
That's right. Yeah.
So.
It's just shit talking.
So when he was talking to his alter egos, or those people that were supposed to be aspects of his personality,
Yeah.
they said Troy was his fear.
Yeah.
And then like Worf was his anger.
Yeah.
And then Picard pops up, and I was like, what's Picard then? That wasn't really clear to me.
He just like says it as it is. Like, so I guess he's like, this is just logically what happened. 3 people came up and attacked you from behind, and
his reasonable side.
His reason or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. Which kind of suits Picard.
That's good. I was wondering. At least you've answered my question.
But they don't state it specifically, do they? It's just we got to guess that one.
But they use that thing. We talked about it. Stu Plum saying you got to answer the question, Monty.
I just noticed. Yeah, totally didn't copy everyone else.
We talked about it a while back when we had a similar sort of, not in reality type episode. I'm trying to remember which one that was. It wasn't Future Imperfect, was it? Or something else. But where they signal it in a way by never showing external shots of the Enterprise.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're in somebody's mind, so it doesn't give you that macro view of the world and, being like an external observer of the ship. So, yeah, and I thought, they did that again this time, which was pretty cool. And in fact, the only external shot you see is just after he breaks through and is actually beamed back up onto the ship. So that's pretty cool. And another thing I was thinking a little bit, but on this sort of opposite side to what you were saying, Monty, is that if this was all generated by Riker and his memories and things, then I can see how he would have brought, this play into it and how he would have brought members of the Enterprise crew into it. But then the fact that he would have sort of, I don't know, visualized or something, all of these Telonian people like Jaya and Mavek and stuff like that. I mean, I guess, they might have been people that he had met in the couple of days he was down there. So he was pulling their images from there or something. But to have sort of imagined a bunch of alien people when you're supposed to be drawing on your own memories seems a little bit odd. But yeah, I guess we don't know what really happened.
Yeah.
And I just really like this as well. It's kind of quite good that he's destroyed destroyed this lab or this room in his mind, and now he wants to actually destroy it in person. I think that was quite a nice little touch at the end.
Yeah, and it goes to show how flimsy these sets are, because like he rips that panel off the wall like it's paper, it's like these things really are like
Although a bit of a minor plot point, he's been gone for 4 or 5 days and the set is still standing. I said I'm involved with a local drama group. I'll be taking down the set Saturday of next week after the show, and you're literally waiting for the continuity person, like the host for the night, to stop talking, and you're standing there with a drill on a screw just waiting. And the moment that curtain goes down, you want to get that down as soon as possible. You want it done and finished and over with so you can get to the pub. The idea of just sitting there for days, it's not how it's done.
Yeah, I guess though they put the play on just as they arrived at a planet that's in crisis and they get abducted. Yeah, so they probably just
had higher priorities.
Yeah.
Even like when they were making the shows themselves, when they were finishing up Voyager, every time they finished recording on a scene, there was like they'd go, okay, that's a wrap, cut the last scene, and they just come out with saws and drills, and 30 seconds after the scene is over, they start drilling it and taking it apart. It's there's no sentimentality with it at all. I mean, it's horrific. Someone would have paid money to have that in their basement, the Voyager set, but they just ripped it up and threw it in a dumpster.
Yeah. Okay, so answers to the questions then.
You gave you added like a drill signal with your hand, Sean, and Wookie's like, oh, was he going to pop a cap in somebody's hand?
No. Well, actually, I do refer to them as guns. You're like, got a gun, but they obviously mean a power drill. But the language is guns. So it was 2 days, so B, and he sets the phaser to 16 maximum setting.
My B was a complete guess, and I typed it in, and then I saw Ruth put C, and I was like, I felt crestfallen, and I pushed go anyway instead of copying. And then everybody else said B, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
really relieved.
Ruth confused me though, because I was typing in mine as she wrote it, and she put that in. I'm like, oh crap, did I hear something wrong? So
I didn't even hear it. I didn't notice. I
mean,
write
yes.
it down. It was a total 21 in 4 guess. Lucky.
Everybody said 16?
Yes.
Spin the wheel then.
Stu's look the wheel tonight.
Stu Plum.
Ooh.
Daddy cool.
Well done, Stu Plum. You get the extra points. And that is the end of this episode. So start thinking about what you would give this.
From Tavi, please, whenever you're ready.
Yep, the bingos come to an end. So we'll add the bingo scores to the actual scores. And if you guys could start thinking about what you would give this episode out of 10, from 0 to 10. And let us know in live chat what your score would be. I'll start off by just reiterating what Mazima Bob said earlier, in that I thought this episode was one of those surprise episodes for me. Like when you mentioned it last week, frame of mind, the one where Riker goes mad and pops to different.
Yeah,
I was just like
the Inception episode. Yeah,
I had no idea what you were talking about.
There is another episode where he's in a kind of Romulan simulation with a bug-eyed alien, and something similar happens to him.
Yeah, Future Imperfect. Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah. So if you'd have described these kind of episodes, I would have said Future Imperfect. I would have said First Contact, but this episode just went past me. But I was pleasantly surprised. I really quite enjoyed it. But I thought the episode looks great. I thought the sets look really good. It was one of those Brannon Braga kind of psychological, dark, edgy kind of late season TNG episodes.
Stanley Kubrick. Kubrick with the sets and the spaces.
Yeah. It was it was that kind of thing, wasn't it? Where it's kind of scary, the idea of being thought of, ending up in an asylum type place when you didn't belong there, or being drugged up that you're trapped in your own mind, that you have gone mad. Either scenario is pretty it's a pretty scary prospect, isn't it? So it's kind of like rather than the horror, rather than the scare being the alien of the week or the disease of the week or something like that, it's like a psychological scare, and I think that's kind of sometimes can be even darker. So it was a pleasant surprise.
Jonathan Frakes' perception was it was really dark. It was a terrifying show and creepy to do. Brannon Braga thought it was Frakes' best episode, calling his performance a tour de force, and also noted that the dark and surreal imagery was really appealing to him, and he found it really fun to do. There are some other things around. So Screen Rant ranked it the second scariest of all the Star Trek franchise episodes. Den of Geek ranked it as the 4th most scary episode. Hollywood Reporter listed it as amongst the top 25 episodes to watch. Den of Geek also ranked it among the top 25. AV Club gave it an A-. Naren Shankar said it was one of the best scripts Braga had ever written for the series. Thought it was a phenomenally cool first draft and an incredibly great episode. Darker season in general, which is funny because the whole sort of thing isn't really that dark, but they're interesting and emotions can run deep in sort of more dark episodes. So 4.2 from Wookie, a 9 from Ruth. We just got Stu Plum to add to the chat scores.
I do feel this is kind of like Riker's chain of command, where Patrick Stewart got to pull off that real anguished performance in Chain of Command. I think this is Jonathan Frakes' Chain of Command episode where he gets to put on a lavish performance of a mad person and really enjoy the role, I guess, in giving that over the top. It was good. He did a good job, to be honest. I forgot Jonathan Frakes could act like that.
Stu Plum gives it a 4 plus a 2 plus a 3, which equals a 9. Cool.
So yeah, pretty good. Right.
Is it time for our
should we give our scores then? Let's. I haven't fully decided. Yeah, I think I have. I'm going to go with that.
Bingo scores were quite low this week.
Yeah, I guess.
You must try harder, Sean.
Yeah.
He wasn't very talkative this episode.
References this week, which was really unusual.
So I know which references?
No Red Dwarf.
No, none.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, don't know why. I'll try and work that in next week.
No, when you mentioned the gun reference earlier and you said, is it a drill? I was going to go, yeah. No, this is a drill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is
Hold on, you want a Red Dwarf? Hold on. Where
Step up to red alert.
Sir, are you absolutely sure? It does mean changing the bulb.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
That does mean changing the bulb.
Definitely in there.
Okay. Ready then? Let's go for our scores. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 7, 7, 8. I think that's fair. Oh, I haven't got the
spreadsheet.
The spread.
Wait, Nathan's on spreadsheet. I haven't actually given me quiz scores yet either. Probably also because we don't have our spreadsheet.
We done it all out of order. Right. You're gone for 1 week, Naz, and it all falls apart, honestly.
It's really hard to get back into the swing of it when you're distracted by that lovely photo.
Yeah, that's it. We were just leaving it there as long as possible. That's our excuse.
Oh, and
thank you.
The spreadsheet's just reminded me, we need your scores from last week.
Ooh. I did watch it earlier, actually.
So do you want to get your paddle ready?
That's a good point. Yeah. What do I want to score it? Okay.
Data. Right. Are you ready?
Did everybody else score it?
Well, I'll tell you once you've held up your paddle. Hold up your paddle. 6. Okay, so I'll tell you that I scored it a 6.
So I'm not wildly off the curve then.
Tavikin scored it a 10.
Oh, wow.
She was thirsty.
There was a hell of a lot of data in it. Sean scored it a 6, and the audience scored it a 7. So, yeah.
That episode moved me.
In sensual
Moved
ways.
you in your panto area.
Yeah. So that puts the last episode kind of mid to low pack for the season. With a score of 7. 7! Yeah, pretty low mid tier.
I think they obviously are running out of ideas coming to the end of the season, and I mean,
They definitely were.
Yeah, the director did a great job with this, but the script was quite middling.
The audience score averaged out at 7.4, so it's a 7.
7. I think that puts it at 7.4. So yeah, it puts it a good solid middle tier episode. Sort of this is sort of solid middle. That last week's episode is kind of lower middle. I think Tavikin's kind of pushed that one up a little bit.
Threw it off the curve, yeah, a little bit.
But it's a shame because the chase should have been a good episode, really. It should have been, but
yeah, full of plot holes.
Should have been a thread to the season. What we discussed last week, Mouse, is that chase. It should have been like a thread to the season. Like, not necessarily a B plot, but just something that, you know, like in the first episode, it set it all up.
They could have sowed the seeds.
And they could have, like, then had it come up as the season progressed, you know, like they kept crossing paths with the Doctor or other aliens that would have mentioned it, you know? And rather than it be all bunched into one episode and then become probably one of the most important things the Federation have ever discovered in, well, its existence. But it just kind of went...
Yeah, a season-long MacGuffin, yeah.
Yeah, it should have been like a modern-day MacGuffin hunt, yeah. We're used to them now.
And it would have been interesting if they were kind of following the kind of path of that double helix and they were going out into new territories and meeting new species as they chased it along. They would have had to go into unknown space or something. That definitely could have been a whole season if they'd done it right.
So the quiz scores, the top 4 places only have like 20 points in between them, so you know, crazy close. But top of the pots is Stuplum with 10 points.
10 points to Stuplum. Let's give Stuplum a bit of a congratulations. Well done, Stuplum. 10 points to you, sir.
Next is My Very Merry Self with 9 points.
9 points to you.
Following that is Monty with 8 points.
Oh, did I do that wrong? No, I didn't. 5. Yep. What's that? 8 points for me, was it?
8 points for you.
8 points for me. Oh.
Next is Tabby with 7 points.
7 points for Tabby.
Next is Ruth with 6 points.
6 points for Ruth.
And next is Gudjon with 5 points.
5 points for Gudjon. Is that it? Wow, that's a change of. That is a change on the scoreboard there.
Only.
Well, unless Tav
Stuplum goes into
skips
bronze.
the last 3 episodes, I think she's fairly safe here. Even if she comes 3rd or 4th, she's still going to end up top of the pile at the end of the season.
Stuplum goes into bronze, and Mr. T overtakes Smiley Rainbow.
No, Stuplum's gone into joint silver.
Joint silver.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's a little bit small for me to see.
Yeah, Stuplum's
I haven't
gone
got
into joint
glasses on.
silver.
I left them in my bedroom by accident.
So congratulations, Stuplum's gone from outside the medals to joint silver in one episode. I think Tavikin's lead is now, I think, unassailable, to be honest. Unless something goes terribly wrong, like she doesn't turn up for the next few episodes, then we might have a chance. But failing that...
we only have 3 episodes left, and one of those is Descent Part 1. And we know she's not missing that one.
No.
We know she's got double data. Are you kidding me?
So what do we have next week? Suspicions.
Yep.
Crusher episode?
Is it?
Crusher episode, yeah. Involving
Dr. Crusher puts her career on the line to prove a scientist's theoretical new shielding technology, which may have cost him his life.
Oh.
A bit of a murder mystery.
Again,
Not
you
ringing
say
any
it.
bells.
Not ringing any bells. So
No.
I normally say
there's
that's
a scientists on board, solar shielding, nothing. Murder mystery.
I'm sorry, I'm getting near 50 now, and it's been like 10, 15 years since I last saw it, so it's like, no, it's no chance. That's not going to happen. But to be honest, these days, I find that I enjoy those kind of episodes that I would never have watched. Like, it wouldn't have been on my watch list, which is why I don't remember them.
A skip.
It would be a skip. I'll end up enjoying now as I'm older. So, yeah, we'll find I find it more enjoyable. So, looking forward to
There's
finding
more
out.
than you were saying, Sean. There's about 5 or 6 episodes left in the series.
Well, no,
I did think there was more than 3.
22,
Then Rightful Heir.
and then
Second
Chances.
Chances.
There's a 6.
Then Timescape.
Oh, feck,
Yeah.
there's 26.
And
actually.
then
26.
Descent.
It's 26.
And I don't think it will do
26.
Descent.
This is only 21. This is only episode 21, isn't it? So we've still got 5.
Oh, we have a while, yeah. But yeah, there's some absolute bangers coming up. Okay, I know you don't remember. Suspicions, but it's decent. It kind of the story is kind of told backwards. It's like Crusher is telling the story of how it happened, after the fact.
Right.
Rightful Heir is the one where Kalas comes back. Second Chance is the one with the 2 Rikers. And Timescape is the one with the runabout and time skipping back and forth.
That's right.
Oh, I love that.
I like that episode.
And then Descent is the one with
I like
the
the
Borg
timey
and
wimey.
Borg and Lauren Data. So they're all.
You say they're running out of ideas towards the end of the season,
run.
but we've still got some really great episodes coming.
well,
up.
I think maybe they were held on purpose, but this
Yes.
one was. It was a good. I think the directing brought it up, but the story let it down. But it definitely was good.
It's a
It
bit
just
like
could
The
have been a lot
Chase,
better.
isn't it? You can
Yeah.
tell that some of these are older scripts that they've brought
They've
forward
pushed
because
into
they've
production.
they
Got a
probably
gap. And they're like, what can
yeah
we shove in this gap?
they thought of a while ago, and now they've like, we need something to put in here before we get to some of
Yeah,
these
well,
good ones at the
sometimes
end of the series. We'll
Sometimes
put that one in.
they put themselves under crazy pressure. They're like, they have to put in the scripts a week ahead so they can build the sets. Because they're always building the sets a week before the episode, which means and sometimes they were 10 days out from an episode and they have to produce a trip in 3 days so that they know what sets to build, and they'd spend sleeping in the office trying to break it, trying to get it right because they just didn't come up with anything fast enough. 26 episodes a year is an awful lot.
I mean, it's now insane.
by modern standards.
This was standard for America television back in the 1990s with any shows like, Stargate or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
26 episodes was like a pretty standard run. Now, that's unthinkable.
No, 13 is considered a hell of a lot.
A hell of a lot.
Half
Now
of it.
it's like you get 8, 10 episodes if you're lucky.
Yeah, if Doctor Who
They
does a
did
full
it.
season run, they only do 12 or 13 episodes, 13 with a Christmas special, and it takes them 9 months to make 13 episodes. It's
Yeah.
just not the same world.
And didn't they do 26 so that they could do reruns for like 52 weeks of the year, like it would be 2 seasons per year?
That's right.
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure because
Syndicating. Yeah.
with what's it called, Red Dwarf, when they switched over to being produced by America, they then changed the number of episodes per season to bring it up to like 52 or something, so that then they could have like an episode per week throughout the year.
Yeah.
So they were always going for like 26 or 52 or even 13. Would mean that when they're doing reruns, they can sell it to channels to be like something that they can play for a whole year.
There's only about 70 Red Dwarf episodes after, and they've been making it for 40 years. It's kind of crazy. The 76
Yeah, but the
or 77,
BBC
something
always
like that.
made series in like 6 batches of 6 or 10 episodes.
Yeah.
I mean, that was British television because we didn't have budgets, we didn't have. So it was about quality over quantity, really. It was you make your story, and that was that. But America, they had the budget, they had the know-how. They could just churn these episodes out. The problem now is that they've made in America producing television programs so expensive. Each episode's like a
15,
mini film.
25 million an episode or something.
Yeah, it's like back in Star Trek's day here, an episode like cost between like 800,000 to 2 million max. But now,
Yeah, it worked out about 1.2, 1.5 million.
Yeah,
today's
average.
episode. They have about 10 times the budget to make Discovery.
but now you're talking like 20 million an episode for like a Marvel show or something like that. And it's like, well, you can make 10 of them then, you can't make 26
that Lord of
episodes.
the Rings show they made. It's the first. I don't know if they're going to keep making it but they've invested so much in getting the rights. and I've not watched a bit of it now. But I think it's the first $1 billion TV show, and every episode is 50 million. I mean, that's a movie budget. Okay, not a big Marvel blockbuster.
Really?
But it's and nobody watches it. Everyone thinks it's horrible. But they've committed to making 5 seasons of it because they've spent so much to get the rights that if they don't make 5 seasons of it, it can't be a success. They just and they can't use any of the characters from the films, and it's set 1,000 years before the films, and it's just a complete mess. At least with the Marvel show, you know, there's an audience for them. I mean, that Loki show was great. But I skipped out on Secret Invasion. But again, they are spending 20 million an episode. It's just, you can't make TV for those kind of budgets.
And especially when it's shit.
Yeah.
It's all shit. You're making not many episodes for insane amounts of money, and it's all shit.
They should have spent that money paying decent writers. Jesus.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. Yeah, that is the problem. The writing is just awful. It's just.
Loki is good, but although it's a bit confusing, and if you got a kind of sci-fi brain, you can kind of follow it because they're talking about, well, particularly kind of Doctor Who kind of stuff about different timelines and interference with the timelines.
The writing's awful, though. The character interactions and the writing in it is just not good.
I think they
what you say. It's just not good.
A couple of places they could tighten up, all right, but yeah. And then
Loki does not feel like Loki. Loki feels like Tom Henderson or whatever he's called. He just doesn't feel like Loki.
But they built up the whole phase 5 it's called, about Kang, Hero Remains. And then the actor they cast as Kang is after getting domestic abuse charges, sexual abuse charges. And so basically they put a bet on this actor being the center of the show for the next 4 or 5 years and the next 10 big blockbuster films, and now he's got all these domestic abuse charges. So Marvel can pretty much are like, do we just cancel it? You know, we cancel the next few films?
They might as well, because he's a terrible protagonist as well, or antagonist.
Who are we talking about again?
Kang.
What's his name? Kang. Yeah.
Kang.
Major Daniels or Daniel
He was in
Majors?
Ant-Man.
Jonathan Majors.
Jonathan Majors. He was in Ant-Man, where they went to the Quantum Mania thing, and he was in. I don't know. He's been in all of Marvel things recently.
Well,
he's always the bad guy.
There's a multiverse, and across the multiverse, a version of him always ends up at the top of the pile and controlling the whole, not just the whole universe, but the whole multiverse.
He's the new Thanos.
And even if you kill him, if you take him out, another version of him just rises and replaces him. So
this is the black guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually explained this all to Smiler Rainbow in the last episode of Loki, and she completely missed the fact that the He Who Remains and the bad guy from Ant-Man and the bumbling professor that they brought back, you know, it's all the same guy. It's like, is it?
But there's different versions of them. So if
this
you
is
take
this is what they're all getting at, like, you know. But
just comes up and replaces them.
If you're casually watching it, like, it just goes over your head, you know. It's like, what are they talking about?
Just now I forgot it until you said. When you said Ant-Man, I was like, he wasn't an Ant-Man. He was at the end of Loki.
They literally made thousands of them in Ant-Man. There was like a whole arena,
I know.
The whole army of them.
They spent that much money on him. He ended up being a real live dirtbag.
Tried to wipe that information from our heads. We've forgotten.
Yeah, they basically committed to spending about $2 billion on films starring him. Or him as the main protagonist over the next 8 films, the next big Avenger film, and everything else. And they're kind of going, how do we deal with this? So are they going to recast him? Are they just going to tilt and start making Fantastic Four and just forget about it? It's a hard.
It's a fidget spinner. It's a fidget spinner, Wookiee, not a midget spinner. That would be
that's a different thing entirely.
That would be a completely different rage. Yeah.
Night, Stuplam.
Majram, Stuplam.
Majram.
Wookiee was being a bit rude about, like, sort of washing machines and
Mangles.
Yeah.
Oh, it
and Stu
didn't
said
shake.
his brand had a ringer, and I was like, wasn't it called a wangle? Then he's like, no, it's a mango. And I'm like, yes, a mango. That's a blast from the past. It reminds me of
I
our
remember the
childhood at
mangles.
Brotherstown.
Yeah, outside the kitchen roller that you put all your clothes through.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Interlocking things.
It's like putting things through it. What can you find to put through the mangle? And then you go, what effect would it have on my finger? Yeah.
Oh no.
Great times.
Best you and not me.
Good stuff. Yes, no, nice Stu Plum. Yes, so So Loki, not that great. None of these things are that great, I don't think. They're just not. They're not doing well at the moment. I don't think Hollywood and series.
I don't know a single person who went to see that Miss Marvels. It just came and went. They made a big female superhero film and they got all the women together and everyone. No thanks.
Is it out?
Okay. Yeah, I think it's come and gone at this stage.
Does it?
Because nobody went to see it, so they had their big Marvel film and just.
It's
went.
not out yet.
Oh,
It's not out
been
here.
a while.
No, it's not. Is it?
Yeah, it's been
The
out a month or
Marvels?
so.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
The Marvels. Basically,
Miss
Marvel 2. You know, Miss Marvel.
or
What's
the
her name?
Marvels, sorry.
Yeah.
Release date's November 7th.
10th of November.
Yesterday. Hey, 10th. Oh,
Yeah.
this Friday. Yeah, it's out this Friday. Right. Yeah, I don't think it'd come out yet.
Well,
So it's yet to be a flop.
okay.
Oh, Crystal's wondering what we should do on Friday.
Flop coming soon.
Friday. Oh, sorry. I thought it was out. No, it's not out till Friday. But yeah, again, it's like no promotion. Nobody really cares. It's just like
Well, I think they're kind of hoping it just, passes by with as little negativity as possible. So they're not putting any fanfare into it because they know it's going to go down badly. So they think if they just sneak it out, it'll just go. Maybe
get it
nobody will
over
pay
with.
any attention.
Yeah.
And it's gone.
Finish
then, it's
this
passed.
actress's contract requirements.
Yeah,
But the budget
their
of these
contract
films
requirements
are-
are done. Yes, and they can just move
The
on.
Marvel films, they sign you up for a really cheap contract when you're a nobody. And you go, okay, but we're contractually obligated to make 8 films. We'll pay you a little bit more each time. Like the contract will be worth about $5 million, but you're a nobody actor. You've only been in Neighbours. We'll give you this contract, but you end up being a huge movie star like your man who plays Thor, from being nobody. But they're gonna lock you in for like 10 years. But this Marvel's one, I don't think it's going to do well. I mean, these films, the way they're budgeted and marketed, they have to make about 500 million just to break even. So it's kind of, it's really tough when one of them doesn't hit, and there's a few of them in a row that just haven't. Disney in general are having a serious problem. The last 8 big blockbuster, $400 or $500 million films they brought out, all of them have lost money. It's just not hitting.
Well, they're being quite lazy, so they do deserve it. They do live action versions of all of their films, and then
They're
it's
box ticking. They're box ticking. They're just saying they're box ticking. Diversity quotas and things, and people just aren't responding to it. As I said, they had the Snow White film with 7 dwarves, and only one was an actual dwarf, and Snow White was not white.
Yeah, which is
The
not,
internet just-
not true with how they've actually cast that role.
Yeah, and the character's called Snow White. So it's, anyway, they ended up. It looks like.
However, as I predicted, I thought Little Mermaid was really good.
I don't know. I didn't see it, but I'm sure it was. But that Snow White film looks like it's going to get shelved, or they're just going to CGI over almost everyone, or they're just going to reshoot the whole film and start again. Because they're not releasing it as it is because it's got so much negative backlash. It's not even out yet.
I mean, that's a good thing. At least they're sort of listening to people and going, right, okay, so that's not going to go down well. We'll rethink this. A bit like they did with Sonic the Hedgehog. When they released the trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog and there was such a massive backlash. Tavi.
They spent 30 million.
You're making a lot of noise.
The rustling.
Like you're You've got plastic bags that you're squishing in your hand.
You know, like Sonic the Hedgehog, when they released the trailer and there was like a backlash, they went, right, okay, so they deferred it a year. They went back, redid all the effects, changed it completely. And the film was a massive success. So, you know, sometimes, you know, when you release something into production, you get an initial user reaction. You got to like pull it back, rework it, and make it right. And you know, so if they're going to do that, then that's a good thing, isn't it? Really, if they go. There's also, I don't know if you know about this one, but Daredevil. Have you heard about Daredevil?
Oh, I did. They had to let go of the showrunners and they have to reshoot pretty much everything. They had like 12 episodes made.
They got 12 episodes done, right? Ready to release.
And they had Charlie Cox back, and yeah,
Charlie Cox back, again. And they give it to some test audience, and it was just panned. That everyone hated it. Like, he didn't put his Daredevil costume on to something like episode 6, and it was like a procedural lawyer drama, and everyone's just panned it and said it was just god awful. The executives watched it and they hated it, so they've literally shot the thing. Gosh. And they're going to bin it. They're not even going to release it. They're going to bin rather than release it and get the backlash, they're just going to bin the entire series, and they're not even going to show it.
I wouldn't mind, but Netflix's Daredevil, starring Charlie Cox, was a great show.
It was great.
So they already had him in a show, and they already made 25, 30 episodes of it, and it was perfect. Yeah. All they had to do was make a continuation of it. They had the rights back, and instead they started again, and they go, oh no, we'll just have him lawyer for 10 episodes. And do anything. And I mean, even he was in She-Hulk in the costume and stuff, so it's not like, you know, we didn't need to see his origin again.
She-Hulk, yes, another amazing production.
Yeah, that one cost, like, for a very basic show, it looks cheap around the edges around the CGI. That one cost like 12
I didn't mind that, actually. I thought it was all right.
I watched one episode.
The writing was okay, but nobody can explain to me why it cost 12 million an episode. It's just there's nothing there to explain that.
Yeah, it just wasn't for me. It wasn't for me.
She's a lawyer. Daredevil's a lawyer. Daredevil comes in. They get it on, and he's in costume and everything. So why do they need another origin story? He's already in the Marvel universe, and he was in Spider-Man: Away from Home. It's not like, you know, we know who he is. It's established. Move on.
Wookie, by the way, says, Monty, can you give a shout out to my branded YouTuber called Wacky Uncle Reacts?
Wacky Uncle Reacts is a
YouTuber.
They're bigger than us.
He says he's current.
Sorry. They got 739 subscribers. They've just got one more. They had 738 a minute ago, but I've just subscribed. Yes, he's currently reacting to things like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, reacting to my favourite thing at the moment, one of my favourite things, the Beatles' last ever song, Now and Then, reacted to that. So he's a sort of reaction channel. So shout out to him.
Nice.
Check him out. Yeah.
Yeah, he gets about triple our views as well.
Yeah.
Apparently he got about 500 from reacting to the new Beatles song.
13,000.
So
13,000 views.
So that's where a lot of his subscribers have come from. Cool.
Yeah. It's a great song though. I really like it. No. Cool.
Haven't heard it yet.
Have you not? It's really good.
No.
So what happened was, John Lennon did this demo tape in I think something like 1979, and he just left it and forgot about it. And then after he died, or was killed, Yoko Ono, later in the 1990s, passed this tape on to Paul McCartney. And there were actually 3 songs on it. And from those 3 songs, Paul McCartney and the other 2 Beatles released 2 songs in the 1990s. So in the 1990s, 2 new Beatles songs were released to the world. But Now and Then, the vocals that he recorded were just overshadowed by the piano on the track on this like 1979 tape. So they could never extract a good John Lennon vocal from it. So even though it was a really cool song, they couldn't do anything with it. And it's just sat on Paul McCartney's shelf for the last 30 years. And now, with AI technology, they were able to scan the tape and digitally remove all the different tracks in all the different layers, and using AI could fill in all the bits that were missing and get a pure, perfect crystal vocal of John Lennon's voice for the track. And because they had tried it in 1995, when George Harrison was still alive, they had George Harrison's lead guitar track from that time, so they could put George Harrison's guitar track on it. Then Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr earlier this year in January, redid the drum part. Ray would have put it together, and they even got a string orchestra in. Because Paul McCartney wanted some strings on it because he thought that would sound really cool. They didn't tell the orchestra that they were playing on the last ever Beatles track that was ever going to come out. They told him that they were working on a Paul McCartney track. So they laid down their orchestral strings and they put it all together now and then. It's really cool. But yes, the last ever Beatles song.
Go because she's very tired.
Oh yes, sorry. Yep, okie dokie. Well, it's nearly 11:30 for Tavikins. So yeah, thank you everyone for coming along. Check out Wacky Uncle Reacts. Another one I'm liking at the moment is I've forgotten what they're called, and I would highly recommend them. Bear with me a moment. I will just 2 seconds find out. They were called something like Target Audience. Yeah, I'm watching these guys called Target Audience. It's two American chaps who had never watched Star Trek before, so are going through chronological order. They've been through and watched all of TOS. They've watched all the movies up to Star Trek 4, and now they're watching TNG. So I'd recommend watching. If you like watching reacting for Star Trek things, check out Target Audience. So there we go. Right. So good night, everyone. Join us again next week, next Wednesday, for the next TNG episode, and we will see you then. Suspicions, that's the one. Thank you, Mazma Bob. Yeah. Cheers, guys. Find the off button, and there it is.